Godmother of auto safety, Joan Claybrook.
Well, it is indeed a great privilege to be recognized by the hardest-hitting, toughest, meanest, outspoken, truth-to-power consumer organization in America. Thank you so much. I'm sure I speak as well for my deserving fellow awardees, Dennis Quaid, David Casey, my great friend for many battles over liability issues, and Wally Marks. Actually, you know, I had to accept this honor of being inducted into the Consumer Watchdog Hall of Fame. I'd be scared to death to say no. God only knows what Jamie Court would have put on Facebook and what cause of action Harvey Rosenfeld might have dreamt up alleging insult, slander, or bad faith if I'd refused. Beware, this is not a crowd to mess around with. Also, you know, their name is very misleading. I doubt that the objects of their affection in corporate America, big oil, big tobacco, auto and health insurers, hospitals, even Google, would look at it this way. But I have to say, this is not a consumer watchdog kind of group. Grr, that's not the first stage, that's just the first stage, my friends. Then pow comes the investigations, the weekly disclosures, the media blitz, the internet assaults, the you can't trust billboards, the legislative bombshells, and then the final blow. Harvey in the courtroom, where consumers often have their best chance at a fair shake. And the companies get all shook up. Just ask Allstate. Watch out, Mercury Insurance. So my advice to everyone present tonight is to stay clear of this pit bull. If they ask for your help, give it up and get out of the way. Just look what this lively band of Robin Hoods cost the auto insurers, $62 billion since Prop 103. And Big Bad Oil doesn't want to tangle with them either. Shell tried to close a refinery, you know, to claim shortages and increase prices of sorts. But it was shaken to the core by the public fuss raised by this group of 11. Yes, 11. That's the total staff of this humble little buzzsaw that works 24/7 to unnerve the greedy and the oppressive. These whirling dervishes are now driving the oil boys to drink. They're stalking them at weights and measures meetings. You know what these are, of course. That's where the industry colludes to pick your pocket with obscure definitions for marketplace transactions. But our dear little watchdogs are not there to check the scales. They're there to be a real thorn in the side of these oil moguls, getting California to approve a temperature adjustment for oil at the pump so that each consumer will not get ripped off to the tune of several cents a gallon each time they stop for gas. Now, you know this watchdog is very frugal. It can count. It knows that those pennies for hot fuel amount to a consumer ripoff of billions of dollars a year by the richest industry in the world. This is the big leagues, of course, and their efforts have been subpoenaed. They've been subpoenaed to disclose all their secrets in conducting this corporate campaign. So maybe some of the lawyers, I know there are lots here tonight, in this room could help this David in our Goliath fight. Volunteers are welcome, and you'll never have a richer experience. So whether it's pioneering HMO patients' rights for independent medical reviews and second opinions, or whether it's pushing doctors, not bureaucrats, to make decisions, or tackling Google, a darling of Wall Street, for a model privacy policy concerning user data and tracking internet users or stopping its digital book deal monopoly, let's admit it. We're in the presence of some miracle workers who fight for us and not for the big boys. So I salute the best in the big business. No wonder California is a model for so many state consumer protections. They're secured one by one, year by year, by this unrelenting band of consumer warriors with a true rage for justice. On the other side of the continent, I've had the privilege of heading Public Citizen, an organization in Washington, D.C., that is the people's lobby, the people's lawyers, the people's doctors as we research, petition, disclose, publicize, rabble-rouse, and agitate. We're scrappy, agile, bold, determined, principled, and relentless. And this work creates special bonds among public interest practitioners, East and West, because regardless of the issues, we share similar environments: meager resources, deep-pocketed adversaries, long hours, complex, often lengthy battles, and bold initiatives. We also work with very skilled colleagues who are carried forward by their enthusiasm and creativity and dedication to bettering our communities, saving lives, and giving citizens access to the halls of power. We have the incredible privilege of working for what we believe in, speaking out when others are cowed, confronting the powerful, and the joy of watching them squirm. But all of us relish one other essential ingredient in the public interest experience. As the famous civil rights lawyer Joe Rouse opined, they had all the money, and we have all the fun. A few quick stories to illustrate this perspective. Where else could I get to work with Robert Redford, teaching him how to defeat Gerald Ford's Interior Secretary nominee? Or debate Hank Greenberg of AIG Insurance. He was known to be arrogant and mean, still is. He threatened to sue Public Citizen for libel because of a mathematical mistake in a report that we put out on insurance company insolvency. We sent a brief apology letter, but he wanted blood and insisted on debating me on CNN. So I called around and got one good piece of dirt on the company. The New York State Insurance Department had fined the part of the company run by Greenberg's son for $250,000 for fraud. He attacked me on a mathematical mistake, and I revealed his company fraud on national television. He wasn't used to being talked back to. You know, he used to go by helicopter from Connecticut to New York every day for his job. He got so mad at me, he started yelling and calling me that woman. Bingo, he was finished. In 1985, after Lee Iacocca once again attacked airbags, this is before they were put in cars, we decided to invade his new car press conference in San Diego. And Rosemary Shahan, who many of you know, agreed to attend and ask him publicly why he wouldn't put airbags in Chrysler cars. He responded, "You know, when I go to heaven, St. Peter's going to ask me, 'Lee, where are the airbags?'" With that, I knew that his Catholic conscience was in full swing, and we had him. And 2 years later, Chrysler was the first company to announce it was putting airbags in all its cars. And finally, a wonderful story about a guy named Tom Donahue that many of you probably know. He's now head of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, and he is a really mean guy. And he was then head of the American Trucking Association, and I was testifying, sitting next to him, about triple and double trailer trucks, which he wanted to run all over the United States, and we wanted to keep them minimally in 12 states where they were already allowed to operate. Donahue can be ferocious, so I decided that I wanted to see what would happen if I had a little fun. So I opened up our very long brochures, about this long, and I held it in front of his face for 5 minutes while I testified. He got so angry, he completely lost it, and he so irritated the senators that we won our freeze, and it's still national legislation, in fact, today. Of course, none of us can do this incredible work, Consumer Watchdog or Public Citizen and our other groups. It just would not be possible without your support. So let me salute all of you tonight who are so generous in sharing your resources for the betterment of our precious world. We all know that citizen advocacy work is never done, so you can be sure of at least one thing when you leave here tonight. We'll be back to see you next year. Thank you.